Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is going to be one hell of an update. As you can see, the map looks extremely different from what we have looked at 2 days ago. So this summary is for 2 days. It's for day 27 and day 28. And let's start off with day 27 first. Okay, the list is now ridiculously long. Give me some time. Meanwhile, I would like to I would like to put out a disclaimer first before I start, because of the kind of update, the information that I'm going to share today in this summary. I want to let you, I need to remind you, do not believe me 100%, and do not take my information as absolute or facts. Okay, so all this is just based on information that I get, based on some of the analysis, based on comparison versus some other sources, and I put out approximate or estimate of what is actually happened. Do not use this as an absolute reference, and do not use this as a fact. Do not use this for your policy or business decisions or governmental position if you're in government. If anything screwed up, that's your own fault for believing me. Okay, so let's start with day 27 first. So I cover some of the major things that had happened on day 27. So the Russian Air Force have evacuated from the Kherson airport. So remember a few days ago, Kherson airport, this one, was hit by artillery. Basically a Grad attack, or a multiple launch rocket system attack. So multiple rockets hit around my estimate is around just one or two MLRS or Melissa. I'm trying to find a different name for MLRS because it's very hard to pronounce. So two MLRS attack, I think, is around two based on the number of rockets hit, and then it hit around this region and then destroyed between 3 to 7 helicopters. And because the front is getting a bit close, so the Russian Air Force have totally evacuated from this airbase, probably back to Crimea, and they are not going to be using this airbase for now. And moving on, there's a report of fighting at Brezhnev. So this fight is basically just a reconnaissance. So Russian reconnaissance entered the town and then they got attacked. So it's just a small skirmish, not very important. And then we have reported fighting at Alexandrivka, where the forces going down from Chernihiv meet with some Russian forces that's guarding this position. If I miss anything for day 27, please go and watch the quick updates that I have posted over the past 48 hours, because I may not remember everything from this day. And then so I'm not going to cover this part first, because these are all Battlefronts information which I think I can talk about it somewhere else. So I can confirm that the Russian forces have attacked the railway station at Pavlovgrad or Pavlograd, depending on which pronunciation you prefer. And then reportedly the track and rail is destroyed and 50 freight cars are derailed. And then they reportedly that the traffic through the station is stopped indefinitely. So this is the train station. I believe they hit around here, and it destroyed some of the cars, the train cars, and then reportedly the track is now disabled. So this is an important hub here. So I don't trace the railway track that much, so I may not fully understand how big is this impact, but reportedly it does affect the traffic to the east and to the north, from what I can remember. So let me see what other interesting information that I have. So I
showed a video in one of the quick update of the Russians deploying the TOS-1, which is a thermobaric missiles on the Azotov plant. So if you're interested to look at the video, please go to the quick update. And the DPR announced that they have captured 50% of Mariupol. So they also estimated that there is actually 14,000 troops. They're gonna call everyone Nazis anyway. So 14,000 troops, and then and I kind of like believe that because it's 50% captured, so 50% of the soldiers are left. So around 7,000, which is actually tremendously a lot of soldiers in such a small space. So let's move on to other places. So the Russians declared they captured Marinka, and then they captured Shevstivs. I don't know how to pronounce that. So and then they recaptured Slavny, and they are trying to attack Mikhailivka. And then of course we're going up further north to Popasna. They have captured Novo Alexandrivka and Kalinov whatever something else, because this place doesn't exist. Kalinovo Popasno, I have no idea why is this place. I suppose it's this one. So this is just a guesswork for that. And then on the 27th, anything else more significant that we should know other than border changes? So that's all for the 27th, which is why I didn't do a summary, because not on the 27th, on the 22nd, the day 27. So there's not a lot, so I don't want to talk. I didn't want to cover much about that. And then let's go to the crazy stuff on day 28. So now you can, in this map, you can see that there's something new, and which is actually the black icons, which there's a lot of it. There's a the rocket icon, and then of course the one that we know, the two swords crossing. That's represent battle. So what are these black ones? These black ones are actually information that I captured based on my analysis or appreciation or guessing. Okay, put it, the worst word to use is actually I just guessing. Okay, then that what are these dots means. So you can see there's a lot of dots all over the places, and they are all, these are fire map. So all these are fires detected from a weather satellite or some kind of fire satellite, thermal hotspot and fire activities. So and then these are all hotspots, and there are certain patterns to it, and it kind of correlate a lot to the front lines as well as the battle situation. And I'm able to, based on some kind of logic, I'm able to determine what it is. Is it a battle or is it artillery? And then and I decided to plot it into the map, because the last video that I posted is actually all purely on the fire map, and I think it's a bit hard to understand, because I was putting it across two screens. So this map is on the right side, the weather map, the hotspot map is on the left, and the way how the map is shown is very different because of the way how the satellite take the photo. So everything is kind of skewed, and it's very hard to compare the two sides. So I decided to do it for you and plot it all the things that I think is significant into the map. And because I cannot ascertain clearly, so you have to take a pinch of salt regarding all these black icons, and but we can probably guess what is actually happening based on the battle situation, as well as some of them I might be wrong. So which is why I have the disclaimer telling you that don't take it as it is. But I think that we needed this information, because both the Ukrainian and the Russians are not going to talk much about all the battle and the movements, and the Russians purely only talking about here, this part of the Donetsk front, and they are ignoring everything else because they did not have significant success recently. and they only report only on Donbass. They don't talk about the rest of the Ukraine's operation. And similarly, the Ukrainians are not very forthcoming as well, and they actually put out a lot of misinformation. And then the past 2 days have been really quiet in terms of open source information that I can get from pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian sources of what actually is happening. So I ran out of options, and I decided to look at the fire map, and I realized that through the fire map we can actually see the alleged major counteroffensive that was conducted by the Ukrainian forces. So it becomes very clear, right? You can see the amount of action that's happening, especially in the Kyiv front. So so let's start with the Kyiv front. Okay, let's start with the Kyiv front. There's no news regarding this mysterious troop that was reported at Luchanki. I think I may start to delete it from the next update onwards if there's still no more news about them. So let's move all the way from the north first. There's a possible artillery position over here. Not sure if this is Russian or Ukrainian. I believe it's more likely to be Ukrainian. It's hidden behind this forest. There's a clearing here. They are here, and they are probably firing at Russian positions. Remember, artillery kind of very different for the former Soviet nations and their military, because they use a lot of rockets and missiles for artillery. So in the Western military, missile launchers, right, is more rare. It's not used so commonly, and artillery usually literally are cannons and howbitzers for artillery. Like even in my country, Singapore, most of our artillery is actually the howbitzers, or self-propelled guns. So, or self-propelled howbitzers. So Russian and Ukrainians are a bit different. They use a lot of MLRS, and luckily I still have a rocket icon I can use, because there's no cannon icon in the icons that I can choose. That the icons I have is very limited, and I'm kind of lazy to create my own icons to put it in, because I want to keep the look and feel the same, because once I create my own one, then it looks actually very different. So anyway, there's a sidetrack. So there is very heavy battle around this area, on the route to Ovruch. I think Ovruch is actually a major position by the Ukrainians. Probably use this as a major military hub, and the Russians is reportedly moving towards Ovruch, and I think this is where they intercepted, and they have a major fight over here. This is like a heavy fight. There's a lot of hotspots all over this place, and there's also fighting on the east side of Narodish, which is actually in this forest road over here. And we also have fighting kind of detected around at this north of Poliske, where is the supposed position by the Russians. We have a artillery position around here. I believe this is the Russian one, probably supporting the fighting over on this side. There's also possible fighting. So like I said, I'm not too sure what exactly is happening, because based on fire maps, they can be wrong, and they can be just people camping there, setting up a lot of fires and dancing around the fire. So but I assess that this could be actually a fighting all the way at Korostin. This has never came out really in our analysis so far in this 1 month of fighting, and this could be a possible excursion by the Russian forces, to see where are the Ukrainian forces, and they got engaged around here. So they could possibly follow this route here. However, regardless of that, there is an artillery position over here. There's fighting over here. Probably they are trying to enter. They are trying to move through the forest into this region. Kind of want to punch through relatively undefended region. Unfortunately, there's probably Russian forces already camping around this area, waiting for them to appear. Artillery position, possible artillery position. So all these that are outside is like probably Ukrainian ones,
and we have some Russian ones that is inside, and here. This position is extremely massive. I want to show you how massive this artillery position is. Look at the number of dots here. This entire this is a tremendous amount of artillery around this region. So this is a major artillery base probably for the Russians, and so this is probably Russian ones. And remember, because the kind of missiles, the kind of artillery that the Russians use, artillery here can be firing at somewhere here or somewhere in the Kyiv, because of the kind of range that rocket systems and missile systems can. So do not mistake that is here means they are shooting here. No, they can be from here and then they are shooting right into the middle of Kyiv. And then at this, so this is actually a strong point for the Russians, and you can see that the Ukrainians are trying very hard to penetrate, and the Russians are not holding this position, but they're actually probably moving out and fighting them away from their positions. However, there are still penetration seemingly by the Ukrainians, and then they are fighting around these two positions at Zaporizhzhia, as well as I can't read this, behind or something like that. So that's the situation in the northwest of the Kyiv front. Coming down to the western side of Kyiv front, the major offensive by the Ukrainians continue. We are fighting, trying to get through to Zaporizhzhia to reach Borodianka. There's some talk talking about there's fighting at Borodianka, but I didn't see the fire spots here. The fire spot is actually outside, and these are all Russian positions trying to guard this position, and I believe that there is likely to be a position here as well as Zaporizhzhia. Probably the Ukrainians do not know that. That's why they are trying to penetrate here, and they got intercepted. And there's also fighting all around here. So the likely reason why they are doing this counteroffensive is they're trying to lift the siege around on this western flank of this Dnieper River. So because without this side of the forces eliminated, or at least fought away, a lot of the Ukrainian troops are now stuck in this region. So they are launching this massive offensive to try to unseat all these Russian forces from this position. And however, this is also exactly what the Russians want. The Russians wants exactly the Ukrainian forces to be fighting here rather than fighting here. So, or even here. That's why this battle here is deliberate from the Russian side, and they literally wanted this fight. They chose where they want to fight, and now the fighting is happening. As far as we can tell, from the battle situation, it does look, at least based on the hotspots, it does look like the Russians are still holding on. And unless we start to see fires, a lot of fire around the center here, and then probably the frontiers here would have been lost. So after this major fighting around Lipivka, we also see fighting inside here, as well as at Berezivka, and as well as north of Buzova, as well as here in the kind of northeast of Kopiliv. So it could be because they just bashed through the highway, and that's why they reach here. And there's some fighting around here, trying to hit the rear. So it is still not evident of encirclement, if you ask me. So if this is called encirclement, then anything can be encirclement, man. So no, this is still not encirclement of the alleged surrounding of Hostomel, Bucha, and Irpin. There are, however, heavy fighting at Irpin, and there's heavy fighting at what is this place called? Horenka. So there are very serious heavy fighting around here. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, I shouldn't delete it. Okay, just leave it there. Never mind. So in case you haven't seen the update on the encirclement, the alleged encirclement, this entire river system here, that it looks very dry now, is entirely flooded. So this from here all the way here is actually from a small river become a rather big river, something like this. So just take note that encirclement is not exactly possible unless you say you're pinning the Russians in against the river, and then you get shot over by across the river. Then yes, maybe in some possible ways that could be possible. So I assess this to be an artillery position. So unless this is not an artillery position and this is actually a Ukrainian fighting, then maybe there is some truth to this encirclement theory. But still, it's not fighting around here, so the encirclement is not complete. So it's not an encirclement. Going to the eastern front of the Kyiv front, eastern side of the Kyiv front, the fighting is it is not reported, but the fighting is allegedly be based on the fire map to be here, just behind the line, the defense line here, and then there's a fighting on the east side of Svitnia. I don't know how to pronounce that, man. And also fighting just southeast of Taravsivka, in front of Mykolaiv. And there's an artillery position. The probably most likely is the Ukrainian ones right here, firing at the front line. So there is also a possible artillery position here. Could be Ukrainian, I guess. And then so let's not drift too far from there first. Okay, moving on to the Chernihiv Front. Chernihiv is another one of those region that on the fire map it looks ridiculous. It's just fires all around. And I, based on what I'm trying to analyze, this and this position and these positions are all artillery positions. So, and then there's a possible fighting over here, and there's also fighting around the just south of Chernihiv. Maybe they are trying to break through because there's no Russian positions around here. So maybe they are trying to try to flank, and they are trying to fight. There's an artillery position just off Zolotinka. So the fighting here is actually rather fierce for Chernihiv. Very brave city, if you ask me, to fight so far away from reinforcement and resupply. Let's move on to, okay, there's an artillery position here, and then there's also similarly there's fighting in these two locations. Some people are asking me why I don't close up all this space. Actually, I also don't know. I'm waiting for priority to fall, because once priority fall, then I have a good evidence that this entire gap is closed, and then I would actually fill up all these spaces as Russian positions. At this moment, I feel a bit reluctant to do that, but we can see that fighting is actually in these empty spaces. So there is good possibility that these are actually all Russian held as well. So I'll think about it. Then, funnily, there's also seemingly to be fighting just off Konotop, in the northeast of Konotop. In these these open areas. Not sure what are they. Could be fighting, or could be just people camping. Moving. So in the Kursk Oblast, there are a lot of artillery, especially this position. There's a artillery position. This is actually Russian territory. So Russians are firing their artillery and missiles from Russian land. So this is something that you may want to know. The artillery positions can be very spread out. I think I lost one of my icons. Oh, so yeah,
let me change the color. This is obviously Russian. And in this one, there is multiple position of Russian artillery all around Bryansk Oblast. There's a huge concentration around here, and then there's some around here. So a lot of artillery positions. So I'm not gonna mark them all out. So I just gonna put one here. So at least you know that there's a lot of artillery and missile batteries. There is all around here. It's all in Russian territory. I can assure you that there's nothing being fired from Belarus. It's all from Russian territory, even though they're very close to the Belarus, but they have positions right next to the border. I can show you. Let's go to. You can see the positions. They are all very close to the border, but they are not firing from Belarus. So they. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. This look like an artillery position inside Belarus. Okay, I'm mistaken. I take back my words. Okay, so there are possible artillery positions within Belarus as well, firing missiles. And there's a possible fighting here. It might be Russian held positions, and then the Ukrainians are trying to lift the siege on Pryluki. This is actually very possible. And you can see a lot of artillery positions by the Ukrainians. Remember, these positions is only possible to know because they fired, which means these artillery positions are actually active firing positions. Which is why it is captured by the fire hotspot satellite. We finally have some evidence that there's fighting for Okhtyrka. There's fighting north of Trostianets, right in the north. And somehow there's also fighting at this junction across this bridge at Klimontov. So maybe there's Russian forces penetrating through the forest or something, or maybe from the sides through the small roads and try to intercept to cut off reinforcement and resupply to Trostianets, which is very logical. So it's actually very quiet on the fire map around all these other places. Especially also in Kyiv, very few fires. So I'm not going to cover much. There's nothing really actually happening around here. So come to Izyum. There seems to be a fighting all the way north here of Lipchanivka, and it's actually along this valley here. There's fighting around here. Multiple spots of burning stuff. And there is no fighting in the north. The fighting is all in the south. Some dots at Kayamka and some dots at Malakomishuvaha. So some here, little bit at Toposke. I think I can show you just to have some context. Let me find Izyum. So Izyum. So this Izyum, you can see there's a few dots here, there's multiple dots here. So it is possible that these are burning armor vehicles that got destroyed, and then they are burning, and there are some a bit here. But you can see the Izyum city mostly is actually clean. So the Russians could have really captured Izyum for the most part. Remember, fighting using small bullets, small firearms, is not going to be captured by the satellite. So there could be, these are all things that are burning. So these are vehicles that got shot or artillery pieces that got destroyed. And there could be still fighting around here with small arms and infantry. So we are not going to see that. So that's why I say you have to take a pinch of salt. Any one of these possible fightings are major fightings where vehicles are involved. Yes. Okay, so now we are all the way to Luhansk. The most interesting thing about Luhansk is Rubizhne. Because according to the Russians, they say they have totally captured Rubizhne, and then the Ukrainian forces have retreated into Severodonetsk, and the Russian forces have reached the northern outskirts of Lysychansk. However, when you look at the fire map for Severodonetsk region, You can see that a lot of the fire is actually right in the middle of Rubizny. You can see the fire is all around here. It's hard to tell what is this supposed to mean, because usually these dots do correlates to battles, and but this also correlates to artillery strike, hitting residential buildings and they are starting to burn, and there's a lack of dots all around this region. So I do have my doubts if there is actually fighting now in Severodonetsk and Lysychansk for the past 48 hours, and maybe the fighting is still really at Grubin's. And so I may start to believe the Ukrainian words in terms of Rubizny, that they say that they are still holding on to it, and I might actually push the border all the way back to half of Rubizny. I'm thinking about that, because the fire map does tell some story. Artillery position here. So there's fighting in the west of Zolobok, and then there's also heavy fighting all over Popasna. There's a lot of burning spots all around the city. So the Russian claims that they have captured Popasna is likely to be not true, or at least maybe it was true for a moment, and then the Ukrainians start firing again, and then they start to realize that they got into a trap. There's fighting south of Novo-Oleksandrivka along this seemingly look like I'm not even sure if this is a valley. So the very open area here, there's fighting around here. Maybe there are forces, either from the Ukrainians traveling into Kalinov, or from Kalinov, Russian forces moving into Novozhenivka. Not so sure. And let's see, do we have anything else to say around here? So that's Luhansk. So now we go to Donetsk Front. We are now the North Donetsk Front. There's fighting off the north of Ducha or south of Mykolaiv. So there's fighting around here. There's artillery position around here, and there's fighting off New York, and this is understood to be Russian territory. So there's probably the Russians are trying to push out, and then they got hit by anti-tank weaponry that's guarding New York. So in this bulge here, there's heavy fighting all around here in around Stavky. So this is not a good position to be in, even though it's a bulge, because you're surrounded by Russian forces. There's definitely still battle around Verkhotursk. The number of burning stuff is not a lot around here, but if you when you compare to other places, so that's why I say sometimes it's very hard to tell. If there's not a lot of vehicles involved, then it doesn't really show up on that fire map. There's fighting at Novoselivka as well as Kayamka. So this is known, and there are some traces of it on the fire map. So southwest of Avdiivka, there's fighting south of Vodian, and then there's also fighting south of Piske. These are all in the northwest of Donetsk. So so we can see that this border is correct. There's fighting around this region. There is also fighting here. So you can see that because Krasnohorivka is actually a Ukrainian hell, so there could be a lot of defenses around this region, and maybe the Russian forces moving out got hit, so they are unable to maybe get near to Krasnohorivka. So now we are already in the south of Donetsk. Artillery position northeast of Luhansk. So this is actually a dugout. There's no town around here. It's actually in the middle of the field. There's actually a entrenched position by the Ukrainians, and there's fighting all around here into the north and east of Slavny. So they can see, and in fact the burning stuff are even in the middle of the fields here. there is a lot of burning stuff at Konstantinivka. So there is a possibility that there's actually fighting here. Maybe there's a Russian advance punching through this direction. From this position, they're punching through, trying to cut off and do a encirclement, or actually, try to cut off reinforcement. So that is a possible, because you don't really want to always fight from the front. You always want to do a flanking movement to cut off your opponent and make them fight on multiple directions. Artillery position of Berezov. And even though there's fighting around Novokranka supposedly and at Shataske, there's nothing burning around here. It's actually rather quiet on the fire map around this area. The fighting is predominantly on the eastern side of this entire front of the position of the 54th Separate Mechanized Brigade. There's also nothing happening around here. So I want to show you more artillery positions on the Russian side, and they're firing. There's a lot of artillery position in Rostov area. So let's move all the way down to Mariupol. There is an artillery position here all the way far to the west of Mariupol. I don't think this is involved in the fighting of Mariupol. This most likely is fighting, shooting all the way to this front. There is, but I might be wrong, of course. I'm not. I definitely don't know what I'm talking about actually. So there is artillery position here, and here. They are all firing into Mariupol, most likely, and there's burning stuff detected here, and here as of start as well, and here. So if these are all signs of battle, then we can kind of verify that there are heavy fighting in the Dnipro city area, the district here. There are heavy fighting around here. There's now fighting probably in Azovstal, or those fire could be actually artillery strikes that is burning something there. But I like to believe it's actually fighting. So, and then we have fighting exclusively in the center, just in front of this bridge here, as well as in the city center, just around, just behind the drama theater. So the fighting is now here. The entire area here is very quiet. So there is a very good reason to believe that this entire area is now all Russian held, Russian control. I will think about it and and whether to change it according to the fire map information. There's also, and this area is actually the Ilyich plant is surprisingly quiet as well. However, this is interesting. The burning stuff just north of the city. Not sure what is this supposed to be, but I'm very sure this area is already DPR forces taken, the Donetsk forces taken, and based on the ground information, thanks to one of our viewers. So though that's the situation at Mariupol. There's possible fighting in the east and southeast of Tokmak. I'm not sure if this is my misunderstanding, but I can show you so you can make your own assessment. Don't trust me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So that you can see this and this. The way how it's spread out, it could be artillery as well, and similar for this, but I do not know if they are actually artillery or are they fighting. Of course, to say that it's fighting does seems a bit weird because they are so deep in Russian territory. So that's why I say don't trust this 100%. I can't really assess it as fighting, but I might change it to artillery maybe for tomorrow's report. There's artillery position here because this is the front line, and then there's a Ukrainian artillery position here. There is probably firing into Russian territory. Then somehow there's also artillery position here, probably firing into Kamyanske, and there's actual probable fighting just east of Kamyanske. So there might be a case where the Russians are making some provocations around this area to draw forces away to keep the Ukrainians busy. So, but it's rather quiet as compared to some of the fronts out there. So ultimately, manpower situation affects both sides. So it's not just the Ukrainians are stretched, the Russians are also stretched. You have to gather your forces at one point to attack, and you cannot just spread them across the entire front. Then that you just create a very weak front all across the entire battlefront. There's some fighting in this south. So now we are in the Kryvih Rih Front. There's an artillery position just east of Pokrovske, and in this Russian held front, there's some fighting just east of Zaporizhzhia. So otherwise, this area is actually rather quiet. The Russians doesn't seem to be interested to actually advance. Maybe they are softening up the targets here. Who knows what they are actually thinking. There's actually some burning stuff around here. It might be some scouting expeditions from both sides meeting each other. And there's an artillery position around 3 vehicles, if I didn't remember wrongly. So let's move to Mykolaiv. Yeah, you can see these three clear dots, which represents 3 vehicles spread out, and then this likely to be a Ukrainian artillery position. And then there's some fighting, signs of fighting just northwest of Kalinivka. So this is previously the alleged forward operating base of the Russians. So who knows, maybe they found the Russians found the Ukrainians, and they having a firefight here. Hard to say. But to have these people here firing, that's pretty interesting. Then there is actually somewhat of a heavy fighting at Mykolaiv. There's heavy fighting here at Mykolaiv, and also at Posad-Pokrovske. There's some fighting around here. So that means the Ukrainian advance down to Posad-Pokrovske actually got stuck, and they cannot actually advance further into Kherson. And there is actually also a lot more artillery positions by the Russians just in this area of what is that place called? Of Okhtyrka, and also all the way down on the east side of Skadovsk. So there's artillery firing from this position. So I want to let you know how accurate these artillery positions are. There is actually a coastal battery here. This is a coastal battery. This is actually a fort in a way, and every this spot this enclave or enclave here is actually a firing position of mobile coastal batteries, and the Russians have actually fired a few missiles from here, probably around one salvo of it, but it was not captured by by this hotspot detector. So actually you can go all the way here. You can also spot the location here. However, there's no hotspot detected, which means that for the satellite to actually detect the fire have to be sustained. A sustained fire, that means the fire must be continuously be in that position, which means that the artillery have to be continuously firing before the satellite can actually register it as a hotspot, which is why some of the dots that are very bright, for example this one, are very clear to be artillery positions, especially if they are in formation, a straight line or a square or a rectangle. Then those are very likely to be very clear artillery positions. Then of course the Ukrainians have their own artillery here, and they are also
all around here. There are also a lot of other dots that's in Odessa and all around places which I can't really identify what are they. There are artillery position in Odessa as well, but I do not want to speculate since there is no fighting over there. So I do not want to enter the information from here and also from the eastern side of Ukraine. So so you can see that there's actually a lot of dots all over the place. So I omitted a lot of them because that if I'm going to believe them, then I will actually think that there's actually a lot of fighting around here, which is of course not true. So not sure what are all those dots about. So I don't want to speculate. That's why I only want to, you know, based on what we can understand, based on this strategic map, then we can kind of assess, you know, what kind of things actually happening. So this is the summary for day 27 and 28. This is a rather long summary. So hopefully this kind of give you a sensing of the entire picture of the situation in Ukraine, and based on this fire map information, we can now have a better grasp of the intensity of fighting in the various fronts. And so in summary, we can confirm that there are indeed a massive counteroffensive by the Ukrainians, especially on the western side of Kyiv and the northwest of Kyiv, as they try to unseat the forces on the west side of the Dnieper River, and as well as clear evidence that the fighting all along the eastern front is still there. And this is just a summary. And if you like this video, please subscribe if you haven't, and please like the video. And if you think this is useful for your friends, community, or contact, do share this to them. All these things you do can help to, you know, subscription, liking, and sharing definitely helps to promote this channel to more people and help to grow this channel together, so that with more viewership, then I get more revenue, then I have more money, then I will be happier, then I will do more of these updates. So and of course, you know, yeah, you know, okay. So and anyway, so this is just a quick update. The next update is going to be at least 12 hours away. I'm not going to make any more updates since this is actually quite heavy already. This is a lot of information. The next update is going to be at least 12 hours away. I need to do some of my own work. I got football to go to. I got some work I need to finish, and then I will need more time to do the research before I can do any updates. So 12 hours may be a bit conservative, but maybe 16 hours. I don't know. So anyway, or maybe I just go to sleep and then not update at all for the next 24 hours. I don't know. So anyway, do like and subscribe. There is if you want to, like, if you're very sick of the discussion in the comments, you know, very hard to debate, you can actually join the Discord channel. And if you want to support my work, you can also join as a patron at Patreon. The link is also below in the description. By paying a bit of money per month, you can help to support the work, and then you will have exclusive access to a secret exclusive for patron only channel within the Discord. And of course, you have my exclusive attention within the Patreon, and you also have a chance to be invited to podcasts that I have been planning. The name of the name of all these patron involved podcasts is likely to be called Open Mic. I'm still thinking about it, how to do all these things. And you also get a chance to vote on decisions in polls purely exclusively inside Patreon. And what else? I have created a Telegram channel. I'm going to put this link inside the description below as well. You can follow me on Telegram. So this Telegram channel is a channel, so you cannot actually comment there. But I will share all these video updates there, and I also going to forward some of the sources that I see that I think will be interesting, and probably
some of the interesting videos that I see that I do not dare to put on YouTube, I can also share and in that Telegram channel. So these are all the very different things. Patreon, Discord, Telegram, they are all very different things. So you may want to join all of them, because the activities and the things that I will be posting or talking about, or my activity levels are all will be different, because they are all very different social media networks. Then if you want to follow me on social media, I'm Defense Politics Asia is on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't post much on Instagram because it's a bit troublesome to post there. I do comment some rubbish on Twitter, and Facebook page is, I don't really like Facebook that much, but yeah, we are there too. So anyway, this is a very long closing of this video. Since we are already so long, I might as well go on for 5 minutes, right? So anyway, I will see you in the next update.